Hi, welcome to this new YouTube video. Today I am say about fruit agriculture. 1. Mango. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 7.5 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 7 to 10 m apart. Days to maturity is 3 to 6 years. 3 to 5 months from the time they flower. Less than 10 years old may flower and fruit regularly every year. 2. Apple. Sowing season is between winter and summer. Sowing depth is 4 to 5 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 4 meters by 4 meters apart. Days to maturity is 130150 days 2 to 5 year onwards. 3. Papaya. Sowing season is summer first 2 month, winter first 2 month, monsoon first 2 month. Sowing depth is 3 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 13 centimeters apart. Days to maturity is after 2 to 3 years of planting. Fruit start coming, 6 to 7 months. 4. Orange. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 2 to 3 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 6 meters by 6 meters apart. Days to maturity is 7 to 15 months. 5. Pineapple. Sowing season is summer. Sowing depth is 7.5 to 10 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 25 centimeters by 60 centimeters. Days to maturity is after 1 to 2 years of planting. Fruit start coming, 15 to 18 months. 6. Sapote. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 1 to 2 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 8 meters by 4 meters. Days to maturity is 2 to 3 year onwards, 4 to 6 months from flowering to fruit maturity. 7. Grape. Sowing season is winter and start summer. Sowing depth is 1 to 3 millimeters. Sowing spacing is 3 centimeters to 4 centimeters. Days to maturity is after 2 to 4 years of planting. Fruit start coming. 8. Blackberry. Sowing season is summer and monsoon. Sowing depth is 5 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 25 centimeters by 15 centimeters. Days to maturity is after 1 to 2 years of planting. Fruit start coming. 9. Guava. Sowing season is summer and winter. Sowing depth is 30 to 60 centimeters depending. Pouring water disappears in few minutes. Sowing spacing is 3 meters by 3.6 meters. Days to maturity is up to 1 to 2 years to produce fruit. 10. Apricot. Sowing season is autumn after first rain. Sowing depth is 4 to 5 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 6 meters by 6 meters apart. Days to maturity is up to 2 to 5 years to produce fruit. 11. Bananas. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 2 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 1.82 meters by 1.52 meters apart. Days to maturity is 11 to 12 months, after 2 to 3 years. 12. Custard apple. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 2 to 3 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 5 meters by 5 meters. Days to maturity is up to 1 to 2 years to produce fruit. 13. Jackfruit. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 2.5 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 10 meters by 10 meters. Days to maturity is up to 3 to 4 years to produce fruit, 90 to 110 days from flowering to fruit maturity. 14. Watermelon. Sowing season is summer first month and winter last month. Sowing depth is 2 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 0.9 meters to 1.2 meters apart with 2.4 meter distance between rows. Days to maturity is 65 to 90 days after planting. 15. Pomegranate. Sowing season is summer first 2 month, monsoon first 2 month. Sowing depth is 5 millimeters. Sowing spacing is 4 meters by 5 meters apart. Days to maturity is up to 2 to 4 years to produce fruit, 120 to 130 days from flowering to fruit maturity. 16. Sugarcane. Sowing season is summer. Sowing depth is 8 to 10 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 75 centimeters apart. Days to maturity is 12 to 18 months. 17. Pears. Sowing season is summer. Sowing depth is 13 millimeters. Sowing spacing is 10 to 15 centimeters in rows and 15 centimeters apart. Days to maturity is up to 4 to 6 years to produce fruit. 115 to 165 days from flower bloom. 18. Peach. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 5 cm. Sowing spacing is 15 cm apart and row-to-row spacing of 20 cm. Days to maturity is bearing fruit 2 to 4 years after planting. 3 to 5 months from flower bloom. 19. Plums. Sowing season is winter. Sowing depth is 7.5 cm. Sowing spacing is 15 cm by 30 cm. Days to maturity is bearing fruit 3 to 6 years after planting. 140 to 170 days from flower bloom. 20. Muskmelon. Sowing season is winter. Sowing depth is 2.5 cm. Sowing spacing is 1.6 to 2.5 meters. Days to maturity is 35 to 45 days from flower bloom. 90 days after planting. 21. Mulberry. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 15 to 20 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 90 centimeters by 90 centimeters. Days to maturity is about 2 to 3 years or more to reach maturity and begin bearing fruit, ripe and over the course of 2 to 4 weeks. 22. Star fruit. Sowing season is winter. Sowing depth is 5 millimeters. Sowing spacing is 8 meters by 8 meters. Days to maturity is after 2 to 4 years of planting. Carambola blooms for the first time. Flowers take around 2 months to become the fruit. 23. Fig. Sowing season is between winter and summer. Sowing depth is 1 to 3 millimeters. Sowing spacing is 5 meters by 5 meters. Days to maturity is bearing fruit 1 to 2 years after planting. Produced fruit once to twice per year. 24. Lychee. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 2.5 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 8 to 10 m apart. Days to maturity is bearing fruit 1 to 2 years after planting. After flowering, it takes 70 to 100 days for the fruits to ripe. 25. Lemon. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 1 centimeter. Sowing spacing is 4.5 meters by 4.5 meters. Days to maturity is bearing fruit 2 to 4 years after planting. After flowering, it takes 150 to 160 days for the fruits to ripe. 26. Dates. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 2.5 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 8 meters apart. Days to maturity is bearing fruit 4 to 8 years after planting. 27. Bird. Sowing season is summer and monsoon. Sowing depth is 2 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters. Days to maturity is bearing fruit 3 to 4 years after planting. 150 to 175 days to reach maturity after flowering. 28. Strawberry. Sowing season is winter and summer. Sowing depth is 1 centimeter. Sowing spacing is 25 to 30 centimeters apart. Days to maturity is bearing fruit 1 to 2 years after planting. 28 to 30 days after first bloom. 29. Wood apple. Sowing season is monsoon. Sowing depth is 2.5 centimeters. Sowing spacing is 5 centimeters apart. Days to maturity is starts bearing fruits after 5 to 10 years of planting. 8 months after first bloom. Thank you for watching this video.